else.
Now, if you guys haven't seen the chat between Tony Bellew and Anthony Joshua on Sky Sports here on YouTube, go check it out. It's quite interesting. And there was a point in there that even though that these guys were strategizing or almost analyzing Povetkin and some of his strengths, his weaknesses, etc., which I'll probably do a video on that one tomorrow, to be fair, rather than today. But there was a part in this one where Anthony Joshua said about his vulnerabilities, that people see his vulnerabilities. And he's absolutely right, because a lot of people, especially the ones who are not fans of his, because there are a section of people who are just out and out haters. They wake up each and every morning before the sleep is even out of their eyes with a bit of water. They're looking online, trying to find a reason to hate on Anthony Joshua or Eddie Hearn, and that's just the way that they are. Pathetic, really, right? But he's right where he says that he has vulnerabilities and they're there for the world to see. Now, these vulnerabilities are getting smaller and smaller because each fight that he has, he is improving. And like he said, even though he only had 43 fights as an amateur, he achieved a hell of a lot in a very, very short amount of time. And as a pro, has achieved an incredible amount in such a short period of time. I mean, he's only had 21 fights, okay, and he's a unified heavyweight champion. He's the heavyweight champion of the world, right? And there's no debate about that, because with the likes of, say, Deontay Wilder, he's had one belt. He's had more defenses than Joshua. He's been champion longer, but yet he hasn't unified and hasn't had a meaningful fight yet. Tyson Fury is probably the closest one, because he was the one who opened up the whole heavyweight division, right? When he defeated Vladimir Klitschko in Germany as well, where he took Vladimir Klitschko to school. So he beat one guy to get all the belts that Joshua currently has, including the leadership and the Ring Magazine, of course. Now, Joshua, he had to defeat 3 different champions to get those belts, whether you rate these champions, whether you don't. Fact is, he had to do that, and he had to go through all that in a very, very short amount of time. In his 19th fight, he became a unified heavyweight champion by defeating Vladimir Klitschko, the same guy that Tyson Fury defeated. And again, you see, a lot of people will look at Joshua's weaknesses and say, that's why he's beatable. He's easy to hit. He's a robot. He's got no foot movement, and he's very easy to hit. He's chinny, whatever else it may be, because he has been hurt on 2 occasions now. He got stunned by Dylan White, and Dylan White's shoulder went in that moment. So who knows what would have happened had Dylan White been able to calm himself and not had that shoulder problem. Who knows what would have happened? I'm not saying that Dylan White would have stopped him, not at all, but he could have. So maybe Joshua had a bit of an escape with that one. And likewise against Vladimir Klitschko as well, where he did get hit by a shot that Joshua should have really seen coming, because it was a straight down the pipe. That's what Vladimir Klitschko is known for, that straight down the pipe punch, and it hit him on the forehead come temple, and Joshua went down. For whatever reason, he's laughing on the floor about it, okay? But that's why people think that he's vulnerable, because when he gets hit, his feet turn to concrete and he gasses, and that's his weakness, okay? So how do you sort that weakness? You drop a bit of muscle and you gain a bit of cardio, okay? That's how you eradicate that, okay? But ultimately, the pressure of the night, the expectation, and the fact that you're getting hit as well, because like here Antonio Bellew said, the person throwing the punches isn't necessarily going to be the one that gets tired. It's the one receiving the punches, because you're getting the wind knocked out of you, you're getting stunned, you're getting hurt, and your mind is all over the place. So that's what makes you a little bit tired. And Joshua has been the victim of that one, and he's been caught and stunned. Now, bearing in mind that these are big punches, Dylan White, he dropped Joseph Parker for the first time in Joseph Parker's career with that left hook. He put out Lucas Brown with it. So, of course, when he hit Joshua with a hook as well in this one, he didn't hit it flush, but it stunned Joshua. It's like his feet just went to concrete. He was like, holy crap, what the hell just happened? So again, people look at Joshua and say that he's got no foot movement. And he's got no foot movement. Why? Because he's a big, rugged guy, and he controls the fight with his jab, and he's improving every single fight. So people who say that he's vulnerable and whatever, of course he's vulnerable. Every fighter on the planet has a vulnerability, but who can expose that one without getting done themselves? This is the problem, okay? It's like that whole thing with Wilder, the fact that he's vulnerable in so many different areas, but to expose that vulnerability, you've got to try and avoid that big right hand as well, which isn't easy to do, okay? So again, there's like a bit of a flip side with that one. Tyson Fury's vulnerable as well. If you hit him flush on the whiskers, he could go down. We've seen him down on a couple of occasions, okay? But does that make him chinny? No, not really, because he always manages to get back up. Is Joshua chinny? No, because he's managed to recuperate and continue. He's been down and he got up. Same with Deontay Wilder. He got dropped against Harold Sconiers and he got back up again. So every fighter is vulnerable as far as getting hit on the whiskers, okay? His feet movement, as in he's not as fast as maybe we would like him to be, but he is a big guy, and as I said, the way to make him a little bit faster is to introduce a whole lot more cardio and drop some muscle mass. And I believe that's what he's done over the last couple of fights, because against Joseph Parker he went the distance and he didn't look tired, did he? He really didn't. And the reason for that is because he knew how to pace himself. He's learning all the time. He's only had 43 amateur fights and he's only had 21 professional bouts, and he's been fast-tracked, stupidly fast. At this kind of level, at 21 fights, he should be looking at, going for the European title, never mind world title, never mind unified heavyweight champion, but people say that Joshua's trash. What one fighter out there right now has achieved more than what he has? None. So these people are just haters. Vulnerabilities are there for everybody. They really are, and Joshua is no different, and at some point, Joshua will lose a fight. Will he lose on points? Maybe. Will he lose by knockout? Maybe. We don't know, but Joshua will lose a fight at some point. Listen, I'm a huge Joshua fan and I don't want to see that happen, but it could happen. It's happened with Dylan White, of course, and I never want to see Dylan White lose again. And it's going to happen with Tyson Fury. He's going to lose at some point. Deontay Wilder is going to lose at some point. None of these guys, unless they quit right now, within the next 3 or 4 fights, are going to continue to be undefeated. And I do foresee that Joshua, especially with the level of opposition that he's taken, and against Alexander Povetkin, which again we'll break into tomorrow, but Povetkin is dangerous, man. He is proper dangerous. He's like a pit bull. Okay, people who's overlooking him, again, they must have some other agenda, because they look at the David Price, that David Price hurt Povetkin, and think, okay, well, if David Price managed to hurt him, then Joshua's certainly going to be able to do it. Not true at all. This is not true at all. It's arguable that David Price hits harder than Joshua. David Price is a one-punch knockout artist, okay? Joshua can be, but he kind of hurts the opponent first and then takes him out. That's pretty much what he does. But vulnerabilities, everyone's got them. Every fighter in the world has got them. And that's what the haters cling on to, okay? Saying that he's vulnerable, he's mentally weak. He's not mentally weak, because if he was mentally weak, when he got hit by Vladimir Klitschko, he would have went down and stayed down, okay? And he wouldn't have took all the shots. Because again, people say that Joshua is, chinny? Really? Okay, so he got hit with one shot by Vladimir Klitschko and he went down, and he was laughing on the floor about it, okay? But yet, in that fight against Klitschko, he got hit flush by many shots that usually Vladimir Klitschko ends fights with. And he took them. They hurt him, of course they did. What heavyweight is going to be able to take them? So Joshua's no different. He's still learning. He really is learning. 21 fights after a very short amateur career as well. He's learning all the time. So every single fight he's improving. Povetkin, is he slipping up a bit? Maybe. Povetkin has looked slower in his last couple of fights, but if you noticed in the public workout yesterday, Povetkin is slimmed. He is trimmed more than I've ever seen Povetkin trim before. So Povetkin's going to go for speed, and he's a fantastic counter puncher as well, especially with that left hook. And again, that's one of Joshua's strengths as well, that he's a very good counter puncher. But he needs to be patient. He needs to stop engaging in wars, because if he does get hit by a big shot by Povetkin, like he has done with Klitschko, like he has done with Dylan White, it could be over. But Joshua can take a shot. He really can. He wouldn't have got this far if he can't take a shot. All heavyweights can take a shot to a certain point, but everyone's got their button. So weaknesses, vulnerabilities, of course Joshua's got them. But those vulnerabilities seem to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller as time goes on. By the time he's on, say, 40 fights like a Wilder, if he ever gets to 40 fights, he would be a perfect fighting machine. Right now, he's not a perfect fighting machine. Right now, if he's ever going to lose, it's round about this kind of time now, in the next year or so, that he's going to take his loss. After then, for me, I think the reason that he may lose in the future beyond that isn't because he's not better than the opponent, because as I said, he will be a fighting machine. If he stays there and his confidence is high and he's getting the results against a high-end opposition, then it's going to be through lack of concentration or overconfidence when he gets clipped. But right now, because he has vulnerabilities, people like Povetkin can expose them. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens this Saturday. As I said, I'll do a breakdown video tomorrow on how I can see the fight going between Joshua and Povetkin and what either fight needs to do to win this fight. So anyway, you drop your thoughts below about it, click that thumbs up and subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.